Happy day to everybody. How to buy apartments in the next 90 days. Here we are, plugging through the year, what you're trying to do by the end of this year, how you can execute this, and how you could do it in the next 90 days if you want to. You know, my promise really to you is that, how to buy a 10 to 30 unit apartment deal in the next 90 days, $20,000 out of pocket. Would that be worth it to you if I can show you that? And more importantly, if I can actually show you, for some of you, how to avoid income taxes for the rest of your life and do it by using real estate to do that. Would that be worth it? So as most of you may or may not know, if you're trying to do this space, for some of you that may own some real estate currently, you kind of have two options to do it. And this is where a lot of people get stuck because they're thinking they need to do it with option A, which is all of your own money. And because you're thinking in the sense of all of your own money, you get caught up in the financing and capital game. That was your fear. That was your misunderstanding about how to structure, financially put things together from the loan, the lender, the debt, and the equity, meaning the money that comes in, the down payment. How do I come up with $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 to go buy one of these things when I don't have the money? So option A is thinking, hey, I want to do it. I want to figure it out. I just don't know how, like, the option B game works. And then number two, I don't know anybody that will give me any money, right? Or I don't know who to ask or how to start or how to put it, like all that what if. That's totally fine. I thought the same thing because we were here. This is where I started. Because I didn't know any better. I had no idea how this worked until I learned it. And once I learned it, I was like, holy cow, what have I been doing my whole life? But this is where I started. So option A is not really an option if you want to grow and scale for the wealth, generational, the freedom, everything you're searching for. This is not going to work. This will keep you small and isolated and scarcity mindset to try and do it all with your own money, okay? So we need to push that out of the way. Option B is the OPM game, other people's money. Other people's money with some of yours, and you can scale to the moon. It kind of goes into the contributor world and belief set around contributor versus creator. No different than if you're working for the man and you're getting a W-2 paycheck and you're getting your check on Fridays and you're earning an employee salary and all that stuff, you're a contributor, which is why you're stuck in this mindset of, hey, I don't know how to put this together and go the creator route where I'm actually going to create a product or a service, which is essentially an apartment building for me and other people to go invest into. Full disclaimer, you're not automatically going to become a millionaire getting one apartment building, but you will set yourself up for your future you. Because typically one apartment building, and you'll get into some FAQs here, one 10 to 30 unit apartment building should produce that if you're doing it with OPM, other people's money, where you're syndicating the deal, the money to you in your pocket every single month is going to be somewhere between $2,500 a month free cash flow up to about $4,000 a month free cash flow on a 10 to 30 unit apartment building per month. And when I say free cash flow, I mean free cash flow. That's after all expenses, all mortgages, paying your investors, everything. That is net. If you're worried about losing money, you're in the right spot. Because multifamily, very hard to lose money if you do not over leverage and you focus on the cash flow. That is why you're in apartments. It's not to go do build and sell stuff that's highly risky. It's to go buy an existing apartment building that has 10, 20, 30, 40, 100 tenants in it, all paying you rent that cover all the expenses and the mortgage and the taxes and everything, and it gives you a free cash flow at the end of that. And the only way you're screwing that up is if you over leverage the property with too much debt, and if you don't follow the certain rules that we have. Don't over leverage the property and focus on the cash flow. So from one unit in 2010, $100,000, all the way to 2018 and 20 units to $3.5 million. So you can see that 8-year span, we went from 120. And that was great. It was fine, but we wanted more. I just didn't know how to get there because we were running out of our own money. And if you're sitting there and you're like, well, yeah, I only have 50 grand to invest. Okay, you can do it. Or I have 100,000 or 70,000 or something. I've, at least some dry powder, some liquid capital to invest. You can pull this off, and I'm going to show you. So in 2018, 20 units, $3.5 million. Fast forward, just in that small span, okay, because this was right around 2021, right? You're talking a few years. We go from 20 units to over. Now it's 1,200, but 1,000 units, it was 1,200 now, and we're at 200 million. Now, to show you the difference, over here, we had 100% ownership and 100% control. 100% ownership, 100% control of 20 units, $3.5 million. Now, for most people, they'd say, that's awesome. And it was, but we wanted more. We just couldn't get there because all of our money was stuck. We couldn't do anything with it. So this game, I want you to do some basic math. Over here, you have 200 million, of which we have 40% of. 100% of 3.5 million or 40% of 200 million. Which number is greater? That's why you scale. That's why you do this. That's why you syndicate. That's why you OPM. You're not trying to do it alone. You're trying to do it with some of your money and other people's money to get to where you need to go. My first apartment deal is this one, my first one. 27 units, Midwest. Took it from this to this. Did that in about 18 months. Beautiful property. That was my first apartment deal. And I was scared to death when we got this because I didn't even know how to raise money. I didn't have anybody holding my hand. I didn't have squat, but I figured it out with some help, a little bit of help, and we got it done. We got it done. But this was my first apartment building. Couple frequently asked questions. I get this decent amount. Hey, Justin, I want to make $10,000 to $20,000 per month in income from this. I'm going to keep my current profession and job right now. I want to set this up so I can make a decision later if I want to move into it full time or not. But I want to make $10,000 to $20,000 a month before I'm going to make that decision. Okay. How does that happen? On average, that's going to take you 3 to 4 deals. 3 to 4 deals on average in the 10 to 30 unit apartment deal space will produce $2,500 to $4,000 per month in free cash flow to you. So that's kind of that dollar figure for yourself to kind of figure it out. Okay, I got to do 3 to 4 deals. Okay, how long is that going to take? Let's get into that. How much time is needed each week to be successful? Typically 5 to 10 hours a week. I was doing about an hour and a half to 2 hours a night, 5 days a week when I got started. I was a realtor, real estate broker, full time, hustling, selling houses, 10 hours a day, come home. Family time, spend that for a few hours. Kids go to bed, everything's to bed. Daddy's on the computer, finding, analyzing, writing offer. Finding, analyzing, writing offer. And if you're saying, well, yeah, that's a lot of work. What do you want to do? I mean, once again, you got options. You can stay right where you're at. And if you're cool, totally fine. If you want to move that needle and go into this creator world and move this for yourself, yes, there's going to be a period of time of double hustle. That's called hard work. Nothing in life that you truly want that's worth anything going for is going to be handed over on a silver platter to you. Ain't going to happen. The only thing that's happened is maybe lucky lotto, or you become a crypto zillionaire. It's possible. It's not likely. But if you want to control the outcome and control your future, this is a mechanism that you can absolutely execute on by the end of this year and do it and learn it and be able to grow from going into next year. The reason why you need to stay in this range is so that way your capital and your capital raising is bite-sizable. You can actually execute and take it down on your own without having to bring in a bunch of other additional partners and what they call balance sheet to close on the loan. Okay, this is something you could do in conjunction with bringing in some investors, but you're controlling the show. This is where we keep everybody for your first 2 deals. Once you execute in this space, now not only are you going to have some track record and resume, but now it's going to give you the ability to go after exactly what you're talking about. But that's how you're going to pull it down. This is where you stick. First 2 deals here, then you can move, right? So just to give you a trajectory of how I did it. First deal was a 27 unit. Second deal was 31. Third deal was 55. Fourth deal was 88. Next deal was 121, 200, 160. Then we had another 80. I mean, the list keeps going. But you see that trajectory? There's no way I could have gone straight for a 48 for the first one. The reason why is because now you're stepping out of the mom and pop space. Now you're dealing with more sophisticated brokers. When you stay in this space, you're still dealing with mom and pop a little bit. Mom and pop brokers, mom and pop sellers, a little more mom and pop lenders. They're not expecting you to have some massive resume. They're expecting you to be a little bit more of a newbie, and that's good. That way you can actually execute, right? And take this down and run it. You just need to learn how to do it, okay? But this is where you'll take it down the first couple deals. Then you can move up. Then taking down the 48, no problem. So single family versus multifamily and the benefits, right? Single families, we all know you get paid 1 to 2 ways. Monthly cash flow if you own some rentals. Then you're going to get profit if you're doing flips, wholesale, stuff like that. You'll get profits from a sale, but you're only paid 1 to maybe 2 ways in a single family environment, right? Then you move over into the multifamily. Not only are you getting the cash flow and the profits, you're also getting fees, acquisition fee, asset management fee, all the tax benefits, fees of the sale, finder's fee, construction management fees. There's actually more fees on top of that I'll tell you about in just a minute when I go through a case study for you. So these are all the fees you get in multifamily, which is why it's so profitable. Now I'm going to actually break down a deal that I did. I'm showing you exactly what I made, what it took to get in it, and how we pulled it off. So you can actually see an actual case study. And there's hundreds of these between myself and other people in the community, okay? So let's talk about a 31 unit for a minute and how for $19,000 out of pocket, I had control of a 31 unit multi-million-dollar asset. Take it down. So this is how it breaks down. 31 unit deal. We bought it for $1,525,000. We had $400,000 in renovation to it to improve the property and raise the rents. Closing costs of $225,000. all in at 2.15 million bucks. Go over here, the loan. Remember, keep the loan and the leverage low. 70% loan, $1.5 million. Equity that came in, this was the down payment money, $645,000. That was 30%. 70% loan, 30% equity. I came in with 10% of this equity. That is $64,000. That was me. 90% came from 7 people. One email out to 25 people because the deal made great sense and I was a trusted person to invest with. 90%, 581,000 came from 7 people of OPM, and we put the deal together. Additionally, I got an acquisition fee of 45 grand. That is, if I'm not mistaken, 3% of that, 2 to 3% of the purchase price, 3%, 45 grand. So my out of pocket is $19,000. 64,000 went in. 45,000 came out. That 45,000 is built into this number. It's included in your overall cost of the deal, right? It's Peter to pay Paul. And you're getting this because you're working your ass off to put this deal together, right? You're spending time and energy to make this happen for you and other people. It's very valuable. It's very standard to get this fee. Okay, so what did I get? 31 unit deal, 24 months later, right? After we improved the property, now the value is way up. We went out, we took out a 70% loan, but now the value is not $1.5 million. Now the value we got appraised at $3.6 million. Took out a 70% loan. Keep the leverage low. Remember, fixed rate debt. Low leverage to protect your downside so you don't lose money. Pulled out $2.5 million loan. With that $2.5 million loan, we paid off the $1.5 million loan that we got. $645,000, all of our money that we had in it, paid that back too. Then we took out another $355,000 tax-free. Did you know that debt is tax-free money? Asset management, 1% fee for that. That's paid monthly. 40% of the profits, 40% of all the cash flow, monthly. So $2,000 a month. 5 years, that's 120 grand. My net profits from that, additionally, 470,000. So on a $19,000 out-of-pocket investment, $590,000 back. That is a 32x. You tell me where else you can pull that off with 19 grand out of pocket to make that. You're becoming extremely valuable to people because you're learning a skill set that is very valuable to people with money. Everybody wants to invest in real estate. That's not your problem. You just need a good deal that makes financial sense, okay, and be a trusted resource for them to invest with. Most people don't take the time to learn this skill set. But if you have this skill set and you can go find deals, you can analyze them quickly, you can put them together, structure capital, put it all together and run it and operate it, and then hire the property management companies because you have a day job and you're doing stuff now. You don't want to manage toilets and tenants every day, and you can run that operation. You are very valuable to people with money. You are basically becoming a hedge fund manager of apartments. You are now the coach and the leader and the call it a neurosurgeon of apartments. It's a very valuable skill set. And once you have it and you learn it, now you're extremely valuable to people with money. That is why you're able to make this kind of money. Your income is directly related to the problems you solve. I mean, it's crazy. That's a great quote. Your income is directly related to the problems that you solve. Think about it for a minute. If you're making thousands of dollars right now, it's because you're only solving $1,000 problems. If you make 6 figures, it's because you are solving 6-figure problems. And if you're making millions, it's because you solve $1 million problems. So it's a couple of last frequently asked questions. What if I can't find a good deal? Well, you will. But part of our community, we actually have guarantees that if we can't help find you a deal in the first 90 days that makes financial sense, we basically give one to you through what's called our Deals on Demand program. Okay, more details on that. Don't need to worry about that now. How do I raise money legally and confidently? Raising money sounds intimidating, especially with different SEC rules. People fear asking for money. I don't want to lose money. I don't want to lose their money, my money, anybody's money. How do you deal with that? There's really 3 things to raising money. A lot of detail in this, but 3 high levels. Number 1 is a deal that makes sense. So when I say a deal that makes sense, I mean this, okay? And I'll get into this in a second. IRR, 6 to 10% or more, cash on cash, equity multiple of 1.8x or more. Now, if you have no idea what these things mean, don't worry. You may be going, holy cow, what is this? Internal rate of return. That's basically what your annual rate of return is on your money. That's probably the most important one. Okay, you obviously need cash flow. But think about it for a minute. If I came to anybody here on this thing right now and I said, hey, I have this 20-unit deal in Kansas City, Missouri, projected returns on your money are 18% a year, minimum investment's $25,000 to get involved, who do you know that may have some interest in taking a look at it? Notice I didn't ask you. I said, who do you know? And I gave you projected returns, and I told you the minimum investment of 25K. Your response to me is probably going to be, well, yeah, I may have some interest. I may know some people. Can you send me some information? The answer is yes, I can. I'm going to send you a pitch deck, and that pitch deck is going to break everything down. We give everybody, and we teach all the templates, everything, tool systems, pitch decks, all part of it, because that's a key component to raising money. And then, of course, you need a deal that makes good sense. That's a deal that makes good sense. Then you put it in a beautiful pitch deck that's going to explain the deal inside and out. And then you're going to have a process for when somebody says, yeah, I'd like to give you 25,000 to invest. How do you actually bring the money in, right? Legally, professionally, financially. And that is the process. Now, granted, a lot of details in that, but that's the high level. That's how you raise money. The deal will drive the money. It's always deal, debt, equity. Deal, debt, equity, in that order. It's not equity, debt, deal. That'll go bad. Most people try and chase the money first, which is why people aren't giving you any money, because people want to invest in deals. If you came and I said, I have a deal, here it is. Here's the projected returns. Here's the money I'm raising. Who do you know that may have some interest? Your response isn't going to be, yeah, here's my money. It's going to be, hey, yeah, can you send me some information? Yes, I can, with a pitch deck. And then you say, I love the pitch deck. We have a conversation about a few questions. I'm ready to go. I'm going to give you 25 grand for the deal. Awesome. Now I have a process to accept that money in. So now I had a deal that made sense. I had a pitch deck, and I had a process to raise the money and put it in. Boom. That is the 3 high-level things of raising money. Okay, but the deal will drive it. Without a deal, you're just spinning wheels. You're collecting what I call soft commitments. That's that question there. So what if I mess up on the numbers? Well, this is why you need to have somebody reviewing things alongside you, so that way you're not making mistakes. And then last one, who's going to manage the property? Third-party property managers, right? You have a day job. You have a career you're currently doing to earn the income to do what you want to do. You cannot manage the toilets and tenants every day. This is why part of the process, pillar number 5, is property management. The property management side is key. Learning how to hire them the right way is key, and all of that. Awesome, everybody. I want to be respectful of your time. I hope this was super beneficial. And let's go buy some real estate, baby. That's what I'm talking about. All right, everybody. Take care.